Welcome everyone to the Comic Couch Review. Today I'm here with JillyMcBeam.
Good day.
My name is JamesMan, and we're going to be talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Marvel spy show that now has superpowers in it and has become way more interesting because of it.
Oh.
It's sad because it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know how the first season turned out, so.
Yep.
And of course we're talking about the big season opener for Season 3. Got anything to say?
I mean, I enjoyed it. It's by far, in my opinion, the best season opener we've had for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I'll do a little backstory. Since this is our first talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., really. We was, really excited about the show when it first came out. Expectations were just through the roof.
Yep.
It was Marvel's first non-MCU movie, or it was Marvel's first MCU non-movie thing. And so everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, this is gonna be great." And then it just happened to be the corniest piece of shit I have ever seen in my entire life. It was awful, and it was really, really bad until the Hydra tie-in, the Winter Soldier events and everything. And first season finished off really well, and so I was like, okay, I was thinking, okay, it's gonna be like Arrow. The end of the first season was, really, really well done, and then season 2 is gonna be great. And then season 2, the first half was just as bad.
Yeah.
For me at least. I couldn't do it, and I almost stopped watching it, and then Sky got her powers and everything, and I made it a couple episodes in, and I said, well, fuck this shit, this is stupid. And then I was, you and Sid and a couple other people were like, no, you got to give it a watch after the season already went over. It's like this, it picks back up, and then the Inhuman started happening, and the quote unquote other Shield, storyline, and that's the second season just ended really, really well. And so I really enjoyed this. I say all that to say that is I enjoyed this episode, and I think looking forward that this season is going to be hopefully different than the last two's, where the first half won't drag on.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and your overall opinions of the previous seasons. Yeah, Season 1, through most of it, until we get to the Winter Soldier tie-in, is terrible. Like, even, the later episodes kind of got okay. I like the Sif episode. I thought it was alright.
Yeah.
Where it was, the Thor tie-in or whatever. But that was about it, because it's that first, 2 chunks of the first season are terrible. Then that last part of it's really enjoyable. And then with the second season, it drags on in the first half of it, but by the end of it, it picks up steam again. And I'm hoping that's not going to be the case here with the third season, because I thought, it was a really good first episode for this season. It's a good start. And, I hope they don't drag it on like they do in like they did with the last 2 seasons. I want this season to be, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get that. Hopefully we'll get that, I should say. Because, we've got the introduction of the actual Inhumans now, actual comic book Inhuman characters popping up in it, and such as Lash, he popped up in this episode and will be a series regular. I'm hoping we'll get a more quality product every week instead of, waiting till near the end or, just holding out hope that it's going to get better.
Yeah.
I don't need a third season where I'm hoping, it'll get better like Arrow, okay? I don't need that again.
Yeah. That's painful.
So, with this episode, though, we got an introduction. It begins with literally a regular person getting these superpowers because they got affected by the however it's pronounced, Pteridwin, whatever. Because it's inside of fish oil pills now. So I guess if you work out, you're getting it.
Yeah.
So, and he gets these powers and he's melting everything. There's chaos all around. He's freaking out. And then you have the introduction of what looks like a new sort of secret force in it. And we don't know a lot about it by the end of the episode. We still don't know really anything about it outside of the fact that they might be government funded. We don't know fully.
Well, it was... One pretty cool thing about the episode is the president from Iron Man 3 was in there.
Yeah, that was a cool cameo.
And he did say that he... pretty sure he said that he has employed a task force. He gave the task force a name, and I forget what it was, the acronym was.
Oh,
But he said they would use lethal force if necessary. So I'm assuming that that's the connection, that it is the United States government that is doing that. Because I could have sworn they were wearing what looked to be like the Navy camouflage, the dark blue one. I don't know if that is in correlation. Any mercenary can get that kind of gear.
That's true. So, yeah, okay, then they are probably the military group, because I remember him saying, I think it was like ACT or something like that was their acronym.
Yeah.
And, okay, so yeah, you're probably right on that. But
it's like
what did
it's
I
like 20. It's like 24 with a CTU.
Okay,
previously
what I
on
think
24.
Oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what I think I saw made me think about it was that it's possible that while they're government funded, they might be, how should I say this? They might have certain control over the government that allows them to, go into fucking hospitals and shit like that, and just pop up whenever there's an inhuman.
Yeah, or they just don't, they don't tell the president everything.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the case. Now, okay, with that whole task force introduction, that takes up a pretty meaty chunk in the middle of the episode, is the whole introduction of the new villain, I want to say, the woman. Just because we don't really know.
We'll see.
This task, we don't know. Yeah, this whole episode's a lot of setup, so we don't know if they're evil or anything.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has a tendency to kill off their main villains halfway through the season. So we'll see what happens.
You remember Whitehall from the second season?
No, I don't know.
Exactly.
I do remember him, but just because he was only there for what seemed like a handful of episodes.
Yeah, and he dies in the mid-season finale.
Which a lot of TV shows are doing that more and more. I know, The Blacklist did it this past season with theirs as well. So maybe more TV shows are kind of going towards, instead of the long monotonous Ra's al Ghul season, in Arrow, you split it up and stuff. I mean, it just depends if the writing is good or not, I guess, if it works.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe it's possible for Shock Value, like, you thought this guy was the real villain, well, it was this guy, And it can work, definitely, if it's well written, It didn't work in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. last season, but hopefully if it happens again this season, it'll work better. And they might go for that just because we have the other group that was sort of introduced at the end of the episode with Lash, who is an Inhuman.
Yes.
Whose design is pretty comic accurate, I gotta say, from what you see in like images online. Not because I have not read a comic book with Lash in it, so I can't say how close he is to a character. But I can say visually he looks very similar.
We didn't get a good full look because the hospital was dark.
That is true.
And so you got a good look at what he kind of looks like, but we haven't really seen him in daylight. And so I'm interested to see what he looks like.
I think they might keep him that way, like kind of in the shadows a little bit, just because there's certain things about his design that I think, like, if you were to show in full light, you'd be like, oh god, that looks terrible. So they might kind of resort to have him be like in the shadows, kind of, where you can still make out what he looks like, but you don't see the super details of like where his tendrils have been glued into his back.
What in the Sam hell's that?
Yeah, he's a giant freaking hedgehog bear guy, Sasquatch.
It's a giant Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, he is. That's exactly what he is. That's perfect, actually.
Go fast.
Gotta go fast. So it was definitely an interesting episode. And one last part at the end, in case you haven't figured out, guys, we're talking about spoilers here just because there wasn't a whole lot in this episode to really dive into except for what was pretty much laid out in the plot. So there's their version of the after credits scene, which is just, come in the last 2 minutes of the episode with Simmons, who we thought was dead at the end of last season. Or I assumed she was just immediately killed.
Yep. Fitz went off the deep end, did his little thing.
That's right.
Because he's trying to find a way to open up the artifact, and which makes sense. I wouldn't expect any less from him. And then at the end he's kind of like just goes ape shit, which I actually thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually really like that scene when he's like freaking out in front of the monolith, like, just do something.
Part of me was hoping she would kind of like pop out of there, but well, Marvel, you just gotta pull my strings, don't you?
Yeah, and so we get that whole setup with Fitz, and then Simmons is revealed to be on some sort of other world, it looks like, possibly, or another dimension, maybe.
Yeah, it looked I don't know. It's weird. It wasn't. Yeah, it was a definitely different world because
Yeah, we
you know
saw
there
like
was like
different
a
planets or whatever in the distance.
yeah
Remember, like that final shot?
yeah.
Yeah, and they did use that very cheap film filter thing that I always notice. It's like when they artificially make it dark when it's sunny outside. I'm just like,
Yeah.
doesn't look good. But Dev, who could not be on the show tonight, who did watch the episode, but he couldn't make it sadly, he says that this is just trying to connect the strings a little bit. It's totally a theory that he has, and it might be true, might not be. Okay, so I'm gonna read this comment. So if it sounds like I'm being stilted when I read it, that's why. So Simmons is somewhere. Looks like some sort of solar system. In the latest episode, Coulson looks at the computer sim of the Terrigen spread, however the hell you say that damn word.
Yeah.
The estimated time being 17 months, 22 days, presumably starting at the end of Season 2 when the Terrigen was released. That countdown ends literally hours before Doctor Strange is released on November 2nd, with what would be around Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 9, their mid-season finale. Possibly. I don't know. They're always shifty on their mid-season finales. And Dev's guess is Simmons is in the astral plane. Notice there didn't seem to be a sun, which is true. And in the MCU, magic and Inhumans are going to be strongly related.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually kind of an interesting theory.
It is a good theory. Not sure. The only problem is not sure how Marvel would play it out that long. I mean, that's a season and a half away from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So obviously, I would expect Simmons to be rescued by then.
Yeah, I think that's the case, but I think possibly with the fourth season, their whole gimmick might be, traveling with dimensions and whatnot.
Yeah, that would be actually really cool.
Yeah. It's like, season 1 and 2, you got the spy shit and whatnot, then season 3 is Inhumans, and season 4 is traveling through worlds.
Yeah.
Which would be cool, and, maybe you can get a Star-Lord cameo in there, I don't know.
Maybe we can, yeah.
So that was basically the whole first episode. It was definitely a really good opener and laid a lot of groundwork for what will hopefully, be fleshed out and more evaluated with future episodes. So definitely a strong start.
Notice the absence of Melinda May in the episode.
This is true.
I'm not a big fan of her character, so I was actually kind of like, it didn't faze me that she was gone. I just think she's a Black Widow 2.0.
Yeah, she is.
And I'm not a huge fan of the Black Widow either. I mean, I don't dislike the character, but I just never was like, oh, Black Widow, yeah, let's go see a Black Widow movie. They should make a movie of just her, it just never, and so the watered down Asian version of the character, I just don't really care for. They really haven't done much with her character since then. I mean, they've done a little.
They had that whole background episode or whatever in season 2.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Like if they're gonna keep her in, they need to definitely change something. And then of course, and then you had the whole stupid, Bobby and Hunter or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of meh. And
yeah, it's not really bad. It's just you just kind of question why it's there.
Yeah,
it feels so out of place with the rest of the episode.
Most of us don't like Mockingbird, anyways.
Or at least this version say we don't like female characters. Jeez.
Well, no, I love
Quake.
Simmons.
I like her character.
Yeah, Quake and Simmons. I mean, I love Quake and Simmons. I think they're great.
Yeah.
I actually, the duo of Fitzsimmons is one of my favorite things about the show.
Yeah.
It's just well done. And I felt like that was something that was missing from last season, and I hope they bring that back this season in some capacity. But, especially now with Marvel's Most Wanted and ABC ordered the pilot that's going to feature Mockingbird and her ex-husband thing, whatever he is.
About that when that comes out.
Yeah. They might be leaving the show, so to do the other one.
Yeah, so hopefully maybe
not
means
that
the
I'm
season
looking
will get even better.
Not that I'm looking forward to it, because I just...
Well, I don't know. It depends with how long they pull out, because I think Agent Carter is actually a really good show, primarily because it's only 8 episodes in a season. So they're able to cut out all the bullshit and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they can do that for, that Mockingbird show, that'd be better, where it's like you got a lot of action and, an interesting plot that you don't have to spread out through 22 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I guess you can argue is the case for a lot of comic book shows right now, is that, that episode length really kills shows like Arrow.
I just think I don't think it's necessary. We already have one kind of, and I know they're going to focus more on Inhumans, but people, I don't know. I feel like people want to see powers more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I do. That's what I want to see.
Because that's what I mean. You have some heroes that don't have powers. Batman and a couple other ones, but they're the exception. But most on people want to see, a spy show is a spy show. There's tons of those out there, But Agents of Shield got interesting once they started introducing the Inhumans, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I feel like having another spin-off spy show is just kind of, I don't know, monotonous is the right word.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what it should be. Yeah, I agree. It's like what made Agents of Shield interesting was when they started introducing powers and more superhero elements to it. Because, like you said, there are so many goddamn spy shows now. There's so many of them. So it's like when you get another one and it's in the Marvel universe, you're like, can we get some more powers in it, maybe? Because I remember when people were talking about back when the first season came out, they're like, oh, they're gonna have Iron Man and Thor pop up, and I was like, yeah.
All we got was Nick Fury.
Just in like one of the episodes going like, this is my plane, and then leaves.
This is my plan, motherfucker.
I've had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday through Friday plane.
Keep on stepping.
Keep on stepping.
That's my favorite line when he's in the elevator. Keep on stepping. So Samuel Jackson.
If you don't understand that reference, that's from the television version of Snakes on a Plane, which is wonderful. when freaking Samuel L. Jackson has to say motherfucker and what they replace it with, it's amazing. So, this has been our review of the first episode of Season 3 for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You've heard our opinions and our opinions of other future titles for the Marvel television world. God help us. So, you got anything left to say before we sign off?
No. See you next week for the second episode.
All right, we will see you guys then. Until then, goodbye.
Bye.